The top 10 reasons why prison is better than your life. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's sure to stir up some strong opinions. Have you ever wondered if prisoners might have it better than you? It sounds crazy, but stick around as we count down the top 10 reasons why prison might just be better than your life. From better food and outdoor time to surprising education opportunities, you won't believe some of the perks inmates get that we often overlook in our daily lives. Let's get into it. Indeed, in some respects, those who are incarcerated are in a better position than you are. Not only does one of the two convicts involved always take great pleasure in the busy sex life or the fashionable orange jumpsuits, but it is also the fact that they are always so well liked. The care that we provide for inmates is actually superior to the care that we provide for our own children in a number of very crucial respects. Of course, we wouldn't exactly recommend that you send yourself to jail, but we would encourage you to do so. We would not say that a life spent behind bars is a happy one, and being incarcerated is not a pleasurable experience in and of itself. We're only saying that it's a better option than the miserable existence you're living. Number 10. Prisoners spend more time outside than children. Most youngsters spend significantly less time outside than convicts, and this difference is not insignificant. In the United Kingdom, 75% of children receive less time to play than are incarcerated criminals. The situation is considerably more dire in other countries. It is estimated that 50% of children in the United States do not go outside at all on a typical day. With regard to our children, all of this is acceptable. In contrast, this kind of carelessness is not acceptable when it comes to those who are incarcerated. The majority of children never receive the opportunity to engage in at least 1 hour of suitable exercise in the open air daily, which is a need that is mandated by the United Nations. And there are several more prisons that go beyond that as well. The majority of maximum security prisons in the United States provide their inmates with a good 2 hours of outside time, which there are numerous convicts who have been cited as saying is the highlight of their days. On the other hand, we do not yet provide such excellent care for youngsters. There is no law in the United States of America that mandates children must be allowed to go outside on a daily basis. If they are fortunate, children have approximately 20 minutes of free time each day for recess. That is because there are days when they just do not venture outside at all. Number 9. Prisons serve better food than schools. The cuisine served in prisons is not exactly noted for its high quality. We are not going to imply that anyone who is incarcerated is thrilled to see a plate full of crap that is nearly devoid of any nutritional value being thrown upon their tray. Simply said, we are expressing the sentiment that they are probably thankful that they are not in the cafeteria of a high school. Good Magazine reports that the typical meal served in a correctional facility consists of 3 to 4 ounces of meat, 1 dish of fruit, and 1/2 cup of chopped vegetables. The typical school dinner, on the other hand, puts children in a position where they must select either the veggies or the fruit, and it provides them with almost half as much meat. The number of calories you consume will be roughly the same, regardless of whether you are eating in a school or a prison. The nutritional value, on the other hand, is completely different. Schools have a tendency to simply pad all of those calories with carbs and carbohydrates, whereas prisons will make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of all 4 food categories. However, if you are truly interested in eating a nutritious meal, we suggest that you try some fast food. As a result of decisions made by the FDA, establishments such as McDonald's are held to significantly higher quality requirements than the food that we provide to children. Number 8. Prisons provide better care for elderly patients than nursing homes do. In the event that you are getting too elderly to take care of yourself, you have 2 options available to you: a retirement home which will most likely cost you approximately $6,000 per month, is available for you to sign up for. Or, if you're on a tight budget, you can always just punch the next police officer you see in the jaw and dare him to throw you in jail. This is even a viable option. No, it's not merely the option that costs less. It is possible that this is the superior choice. The individual in charge of nursing homes in the United Kingdom, David Oliver, has stated that the conditions in nursing homes in the country are probably worse than prison. The same thing has been said by other people concerning nursing homes in both the United States and Canada. Those who are incarcerated have a moral obligation to provide care for the elderly. The long-term ailments of senior patients are frequently disregarded in nursing facilities, although the legislative requirement that jails provide free medical care to old patients prohibits this practice. In the event that an old inmate is diagnosed with cancer, the medical staff has no choice but to provide him with the highest level of care that is available, even if it means shackling him to a hospital bed in order to do so. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. Grandma could be transferred to yet another dubious nursing home that has a lengthy reputation of mistreating elderly patients, or, if you truly care about her, you could set her up for a bank heist and then provide her with the medical attention that she so richly merits. Number 7. Inmates are receiving improved medical care. An investigation of the deplorable circumstances that exist within Johannesburg's prisons was carried out by a journalist from South Africa named Thabang Makwetla. There are better medical facilities given from the government in prison than there are out there, he said as he emerged from the room, visibly shocked. Despite the fact that nearly 1 in 5 persons in the country are HIV positive, Makwetla discovered that the correctional facility was really the area where people were receiving the finest care. HIV testing was performed on inmates on an annual basis, and the findings were provided to them within 2 hours. As a direct consequence of this, 97% of HIV-positive inmates were receiving the adequate therapy they need. Moreover, it is not limited to South Africa. In the United States, prisons typically pay their medical staff more than hospitals outside of prisons, which frequently results in improved medical care. In addition, the medical staff is obligated to provide assistance to the inmates even if they are financially unable to do so. The right to health care is guaranteed to convicts by the Constitution of the United States of America, despite the fact that it does not guarantee the right to health care for citizens. According to the Eighth Amendment, it is considered cruel and unusual punishment to prevent a prisoner from receiving free medical, psychiatric, and even dental care that they require. This includes denying them access to medical providers. The use of cruel and unusual punishment appears to be acceptable so long as the victim has not committed any criminal offense. You had better figure out a means to get yourself locked up if you truly feel the need to visit a physician. Number 6. Prison libraries have a greater variety of books than the public libraries. The funding for a significant number of libraries is beginning to dwindle as seen from the outside. There are even instances when libraries are being completely closed down because of this. It is a fortunate circumstance that anyone who is looking for a good book might still find one by simply making a brief journey through the correctional system. Public libraries in the United Kingdom have an average of 1 book per client. However, prisons in the country have an average of 16 volumes per inmate. This is in contrast to the public libraries, which have an average of 1 book per customer. Additionally, prison librarians go above and above the call of duty. They have been instructed to do extraordinarily beneficial duties. It is necessary for them to ensure that their convicts have access to legal forms, computers, and law books. Additionally, the librarians will personally check that everything that the inmates write is in order before the documents are distributed. Prison libraries receive a significant amount of funds for a specific reason. They prevent inmates from getting into trouble. It has been demonstrated on multiple occasions that those who have access to libraries are less likely to engage in illegal behavior. Because of this, we make sure that the best libraries are reserved for persons who have been convicted of crimes, due to the fact that they might commit crimes if they did not have access to libraries. Number 5. Prisoners are receiving improved treatment for their mental health. According to the findings of a report conducted in New Zealand, the District Health Board was insufficiently compensating psychologists in comparison to another board. A large number of the most qualified professionals in the field of mental health were rushing to join the organization that would pay them tens of thousands of dollars more annually. Jails. In all honesty, the work that a psychologist does in a prison is challenging. They are only able to cope with dangerous criminals who are mentally unsuitable for their situations. When they are not incarcerated, a large number of persons are likely to be overlooked. In point of fact, there are 2.2 million people in the United States who are suffering from severe mental illness, yet are not receiving any form of therapy. The inmates, on the other hand, are responsible for taking care of everyone. In prison, mental health care is not even close to being flawless. There are a significant number of inmates who do not receive the assistance they require, either because they are terrified of the social stigma associated with consulting a psychologist or because their issues are simply ignored. Nevertheless, it is still a great deal better than the weather outdoors. When criminals are released from prison, it becomes significantly more difficult for them to receive therapy. Consequently, the rates of treatment tend to drop significantly, according to statistical analysis. Prisons are equipped with mental health care professionals who are able to treat any psychological conditions that may have contributed to the harmful behavior of the convicts. When they are once again in public, however, they are typically left to fend for themselves. Number 4. The state will pay for your college, but only if you commit a crime. There are 17 correctional facilities in the state of New York that provide free college educations. It is a campaign that has invested $7.3 million so far with the purpose of ensuring that 2,500 offenders are able to receive free college educations. The program is named the College in Prison Re-Entry Program. This may appear to be a significant amount of money, but in reality, it is a cost savings for the state. According to the designers, every dollar spent on education results in a savings of $4 in jail costs. This is due to the fact that inmates who receive an education have a 43% lower likelihood of returning to prison. The average annual tuition at New York University is $50,464 for those who are not incarcerated. This does not include the costs of meals and rent for an apartment in New York City, which are also included in the total cost of tuition. In prison, each and every one of them is free. Therefore, from a purely financial standpoint, having yourself placed in jail would be a more cost-effective method to attend college. To be honest, for you, the state would have to pay 4 times as much for your education if you were to spend it in prison. Nevertheless, until they figure out how to calculate that, prison is the most convenient way to receive a free education. Number 3, the educational environment in prison is superior than that of your dormitory. When Durham College made the decision to make one of its criminology classes available to both normal students and inmates, they made a startling discovery. The inmates were achieving higher grades than the regular students. Every single one of the challenges that both groups faced were identical. They were graded according to the same standards, were given the same lessons, and used the same books during the entire process. However, there was one significant difference between the two groups. When the session was over, the inmates went back to their cells, while the students walked back to their dormitories. It is claimed that this is the reason why the prisoners performed so well. The environment of a prison is simply unparalleled in terms of its instructional potential. The prisoners had nothing to do but do their assignments, while the students went home to spend time with their friends, engage in social media, and attend parties. They were in boring detention cells that were free of distractions, and the only way they could pass the time was by making sure that their job was to the highest possible standard. Number 2. Criminals are treated better than homeless people. When Bradley Grimes, a homeless man in Middlesbrough, was brought before the judge for loitering, he pleaded with the judge to put him in jail. "There is nothing that you need to be concerned about while you are in jail," Grimes emphasized. When he was outside, he was shivering, and the police were constantly harassing him. But he was aware that while he was incarcerated, he would be able to stay warm, have a roof over his head, and eat 3 square meals every day. These actions have been carried out by more than just him. An additional homeless man by the name of Jermaine Makepeace once made his way to the county clerk's office, shattered the windows, and then remained there, waiting for the authorities to remove him from the premises. It was told to him that he had been denied entry to the homeless shelter, and he was unable to conceive of any other way to escape the cold. The males in question did not exactly have the opportunity to find employment. One survey found that 76% of formerly incarcerated individuals described the process of finding employment after their release from jail as either difficult or nearly impossible. Despite the passage of 5 years, 2/3 of all inmates are still not earning enough to meet their basic needs or do not have any place of employment at all. It is simply more convenient for some people to return to prison. When you get right out of prison with $5 in your pocket and they drop you off in society, I don't know what they really expect you to do, said a homeless man who had purposefully gotten himself imprisoned. I don't know what they really expect you to do. Number 1. The funding for prisons is higher than that for schools. That we provide better treatment for inmates than we do for civilians is perhaps not something that should come as a surprise. In the end, we spend a greater amount of money on them. A prisoner's lodging costs the state of California $75,560 per year, which is significantly more than the amount of money required to pay for 1 year of Harvard University tuition. Despite the fact that this is an extreme example, the average annual cost to house one offender across the country is $5,000. Although it is not sufficient for a year at Harvard, it is more than sufficient to send 7 students to a college that is considered to be of a moderate level. On the other hand, the United States of America spends an average of $10,500 a year on each elementary school pupil, and that disparity is just likely to widen in the future. Over the past 33 years, the United States government has increased its expenditure on prisons at a rate that is 3 times higher than the rate at which it has increased its spending on schools. However, this does not mean that the amount of money spent on prisons is increasing at an astonishing rate. In the period between 1979 and 2012, it experienced a 324% gain. Nevertheless, this was only equal to the rate of inflation, which was 330%. However, the amount of money spent on education has only kept pace with 1/3 of the rate of inflation. To our good fortune, there is a light that shines brightly at the end of the tunnel. If education continues to deteriorate, there will be a significant increase in the likelihood that children will wind up in jail. At least during their time there, they will be treated like human beings. Thanks for watching. If you found this video eye-opening or thought-provoking, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more intriguing content. Do you agree with our list? Or do you think we missed something important? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family to spark some interesting conversations. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the world around you.